Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Nottingham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons.
Can't hear you, Duke.
No, I muted myself. I was so excited. I thought we got it all right. I said there was no background pictures up when the video finished. And I still ballsed it up. It's like Robbie's still here, guys. It's like he's still here. It was the first one without him. He always ballsed up. I'm going to make that as a homage to him. All right, that's what I'm doing. It was deliberate.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Right, Steve, you're very quiet, so I need you to come a little bit closer to your mic for me.
Are we doing it again?
No, we're going to go. Sorry, I don't care. I don't care. Listen, we make this up as we go along. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Forwards or good day, good morning, wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to Forwards from Iron. I'm Duke. That's Andy. Underneath me is Steve. Not underneath me, literally. That's just wrong.
No, it would be down the bottom here somewhere.
Yeah, at the bottom. We're here to do the first. No, it's not quite the first review without Rob, because I remember Steve helping me out with another preview that we've done. But we're doing the Nottingham Forest preview, which will take place later today or tomorrow as we're recording this. There will be slip-ups. It's new to me. These boys are helping me out. Let's be nice. Andy, I'll start with you. Obviously, we're playing Forest tomorrow. Tell me tell me your thoughts on Forest first and foremost.
I get that we're in a really bad situation, but we've been rubbish. But it just proves if we win, we go above them. It's mad. It's mad to think of the situation, and apparently they've turned the corner. And I've never been more nervous of going to a game. Probably since Frankfurt at home, when I was nervous.
Yeah,
I've not been nervous. So I'm probably not going to sleep tonight. I just hope what we'll get onto it briefly. I just hope he picks the right 11 and not a David Moyes 11 to get us the result.
Yeah, the nervousness I agree with. I really do. Steve, your thoughts on Forest?
Well, they've got a lot of injuries, which is good for us, actually. Mind you, they've got so many players. Does it matter? You know, they've actually got the cast of Ben-Hur on their books, haven't they? I mean, unbelievable. But what you're saying about being nervous, I was just like that before the Everton game and the Newcastle game and the Chelsea game and the Spurs game. So my level of anxiety won't change at all. Not until we've got a bit of a gap between us and the bottom three. What do I think? Well, to be honest with you, we should beat them tomorrow. We've got the team. We should beat them, and it is that simple. I think player for player, our best team is better than their best team. However, it all depends. If we put 8 defenders on the pitch, we're not going to be able to defend and keep them out for 90 minutes. We just won't. So it all depends on who lines up. I just want to see us, be sensible at the back, but have a little bit more going forward. Because I'm sitting there watching us defend for 90 minutes tomorrow. I think it'll just be too much to cope with.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've spent the early part of the day as I was sorting out the pub, watching, the other channels and whatnot, and it seems to be the general consensus that tomorrow it's an uncomfortable feeling, boys, isn't it? It's that. I mean, my thoughts on Forest. They're not a horrid side. They're not awful. I mean, they're in a position where it's for me, where I sit, it's a massive transition for them. They've come up after so long out of the top flight. A lot of the players that they had last season that helped them there were either out of contract or going back to their parent clubs because they were on loan, and they had to go out and do what they did. And now they've got, like you say, Steve, the cast of Ben-Hur, or even the extras from the Michael Caine film Zulu. There's hundreds of the bastards involved, isn't there? There's loads of them involved on this, to the point that some of them aren't even registered for competitions. This is how many they have. And it's not like they, we moan about Chelsea getting players out on loan. Forest haven't even done this. They're just sitting there going, okay, well, I'll just turn up for training then, shall I? Or I'll play in the Premier League too. It's difficult for, they could probably. I don't think I've seen the same lineup more than once, twice, 3 times for this. In this, so it's gonna be difficult. I'm like you boys. I'm very apprehensive for tomorrow. I've heard some rumours. One of my guys that delivers my stock in the morning, I was talking to him this morning, and he turned around and said, apparently, if things don't go to plan tomorrow, you might be able to take your seat home with you boys, or someone else's seat, because they might be flying around the stadium a little bit. People are very angry, very antsy, and there could be some trouble tomorrow. So those that are going tomorrow, please be careful if that is the case. And I'm not saying it will happen. It's word of mouth. I'm only saying
I see what you mean, like Burnley 2.0 when it
but possibly worse, Andy, because Burnley worked for a bit, and then where are we now? It's frustrating. But
can I just say on the thing on crowd trouble? I mean, I've got my lad coming with me. Mind you, he's not a lad anymore; he's a man. But guys, if you're listening and you're thinking about crowd trouble, please remember it's a game of football. You're not in Argentina under piles of rubble. That's serious. This is 22 guys kicking the ball about a pitch.
No, fair play. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not the 1970s, 1980s. We don't have that anymore. All right, let's move on to us. Obviously, the news, boys, today was quite promising. I mean, I watched part of Moyes' press conference today, and it seems that everyone's in training. Everyone that we want. Let me rephrase that. Everyone we want is back in training. He's made some comments about Maxwell Cornet over the last couple of days disappearing and not being, shall we say, contactable. Sodded off to France to have his, his injury looked at and everything else. But according to Cornet, he's back and ready for the fight. Paqueta, I believe it was the same shoulder that he had before. Scamacca's back. They're all in training. Andy, are you confident that? I mean, to be honest with you, we're not in a situation where I'm going to accept him turning around and saying, "Oh, we're bedding them in. We need to give them time to come." I'm not. We're
No.
not there. We're not in a situation where that can
Yeah.
be the case. What are your thoughts on that? Do you reckon he's going to risk it for a biscuit, or is he just going to be his normal, usual self?
I think personally, I reckon Sullivan said, if you don't win this game, you're gone. I reckon he's be that brutal. I don't think there's going to be messing around. We sort of sensed it when Pellegrini went. We knew after the Leicester game, when Pellegrini went, that he was
If
gone.
I may, just quickly jump in on that one. Just you mentioned Pellegrini there. Do you realise that Moyes has a worse record
Yeah,
than Avram Grant? Remember
yeah, I know.
when we bulleted Avram
Yeah.
Grant? I saw that today. He has a worse record than Avram Grant
Yeah,
did at this point.
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
carry on. Yeah,
so I think it's as simple as that. For me, I've heard rumours speculating that Mr. Creswell's going to be potentially coming back into the side tomorrow, which
Oh no.
which I'm not dread. Sorry, oh no, we're talking about what to expect. We're probably going to. I reckon the way Moyes will set up, he'll keep Fabianski in goal, which I don't want. He'll put Creswell back in. Gued and Zuma and Soufal was the back four. Rice and Suchek. Maybe Ben Rama. I'd love to see Fornals in, Bowen, and Mikel Antonio up front. I think he'll be that stubborn. I really do.
What do you want to see though? And I say this, you just said what you think Moyes will do, and I think both myself and Steve are in complete agreement that that's more than likely what we're going to see.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's very set in his ways. He's very
Emerson's finding his feet. Sorry to interrupt. Emerson's finding his feet now, and I can't understand how. I'm probably going to get. You might get a few negative comments. The amount of criticism I see Emerson get. You're paying for a left wing back. Like he's
he's
not
got a left wing
a
back.
left wing back who's won the Euros. He played in
Yeah.
Italy's side. He knows how to defend, and people are still slagging him off. I don't get it personally.
No,
I
nor
really
do I.
don't.
I mean, I tell you, just coming off a subject a minute. I watched the Liverpool game the other night. Okay, when they
Yeah.
absolutely capitulated against Real Madrid.
Oh, how is your mate in the pub? Is he all right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I had some fun on Wednesday. He was in on Wednesday, and I had some fun. What I will say is, just on the subject of how we set up and what we can
Yeah.
expect to see tomorrow a little bit. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson spent more time further forward in their game against Real Madrid, probably the reason they got spanked, than Mikel Antonio does for us.
Mm.
I had a diagram. I don't have it loaded up. That shows the average position of Trent and Andy Robertson is very much on the halfway line for the entire game, even when that's where they are. Whereas Antonio during the game against Spurs spent more time between the centre circle in our half and our D on the edge of our box. He was slap bang in the middle. That's not where I want to see my centre forward. Granted, where their left and right backs were, that's not where I want to see our left and right backs either, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's a reason that Joe Gomez looks absolutely dog poo, is because their defence is they're left exposed. Let's be honest. Someone said to me, would you take Joe Gomez? Yeah, I would. Because we're not going to leave him exposed. Back on subject, Steve. Andy. Sorry, Steve, come back to you. Andy, what do you want to see? What would you like to see? Starting 11, formation.
So Areola in goal.
Yep.
A flat back four of Emerson, which I think he would do a very good job. Aguerd, 100% Zuma getting back in the side. If he's in training, he's playing.
Yep.
He is. When we signed him, I was over the moon. I just think he's outstanding, and no one gets past him. No one does. Rarely gets past him. Soufal is Soufal when we first signed him, so 100% he should be the right back. For me, I will put Pablo Fornals next to Declan Rice in the middle. Yorkshire Terrier, Pablo Fornals. I think he's the missing person who's unfairly been left out the side, in my opinion. I think I love him. I think he's great. So I'd have them two there. I'd have Bowen on the right. I would have Ben Rama in the middle if Paqueta's not fit. If Paqueta is fit, and obviously you have Paqueta in front of them and then Ben Rama on the left. But if that is the case, you may be surprised for this. If Paqueta isn't fit, I would put Mikel Antonio out on left midfield and I'd put Scamacca up front. If Paqueta's not fit.
Oh,
That's what I would do.
I'm not going to say get you in yet, Andy. Not just yet. I'm going to hold off on that because I might even put myself in for the job with what I'm going for here. Steve, obviously, Andy gave us his thoughts on what we can expect to see. Are you in agreement with Andy with
Yeah,
same old from Moyes?
yeah, I think we'll get same old. But if it was me, I'd really shake it up. I'd have Ings and Scamacca as a pair up front. I'm going to say something very controversial. I'd drop Rice and have Downs in there.
Oh,
Cool.
He's gone double-footed. I love it.
Deck, the last couple of games, just hasn't looked at it. Now, when he was interviewed after the Spurs game, he looked damn ill to me. I think he needs a rest. It's not to do with Deck's performance. You can bring him on, and look, Deck is our one world-class player. But for crying out loud, I think we can beat Forest without Deck there. It's a big call, but we're going to have some pretty tough games coming up where we're going to have to get something, and Deck is going to have to be on top form. He's played through a virus. He's done everything. But last week, when he was interviewed, I thought, he doesn't look well. When Moyes was interviewed today, I thought, boy, you look under stress. So give Deck a break in this one. Because I think, if I'm honest with you, Downs will do a bang-up job. Be completely good enough. I'd have Antonio on the right wing. I'd have Cornet on the left wing as well. Because I still think Antonio's best on the wing. He's an absolute menace. And I think that would be good going forward. Back four picks itself. If he plays Creswell over Edison, I just can't see it. I can't see it. I really can't. I think Emerson's been absolutely terrific. I rated him when he first came in. Okay, it was a slow start, and I think he's got better and better. And who was our last player to score from open play? Oh, it was Emerson.
It was indeed.
So those are my thoughts on it. But Deck desperately needs a rest. And when I watched him, I'm starting to worry for his health, to be honest. Because the pressure of being captain, where we are, he's been away at the World Cup, and he's only a youngster. Give him a break. You can always bring him on if it's going pear-shaped.
Well, we proved that the last time. Actually, one of the last times I saw you, Steve, you came to the pub and we had to bring him on to beat. Was it Kidderminster in the FA Cup?
Oh yeah.
So we know that happens. For me, boys, I mean, and listen, again, this is Andy. I completely agree with what you said. It's going to be a 4-2-3-1. It's going to be the same faces. It's going to be the same excuses if it goes wrong.
Sorry to interrupt. To be fair, Souček had a good game against Spurs. I'm not dropping him because he's been. I'm going to give him credit on that, like for what I would do. But
I've got a lot of time for Souček. Listen, we all know my thoughts. I've said this on the channel. Can we stop with sirens outside, please? We've said this many times on the channel that I feel that Souček has been the unenviable recipient of the kind of what I call the Declan Rice experiment. You know, he wants to go forward. He had, for Declan Rice to do what Declan Rice does, we need someone like Calvin Phillips in the team who sits and holds, and he's good enough at sitting and holding, passing and whatever, which allows Deck to go forward, but we don't have that. Deck is our Calvin Phillips and Souček is our Declan Rice, if that makes sense. We can't, there's no other way around that, and Souček has been the problem as part of the Declan Rice experiment. Now, going to tomorrow, I mean, listen, I'd love to see Areola start. I'd love to see him start. He's a French World Cup winner. No disrespect to Fabianski, he served us well, but he stood there, Andy, and watched the first goal go past him last week. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's in. All right, lovely."
It reminded me of Barthez.
Oh my,
With the,
yeah. He stood there. No, done. The goal. There was a goal scored last week. I think it was Manchester United. And the goalkeeper tried to save it with his leg rather than diving to his right with his hand. Kind of threw his leg out in front of him, and I'm like, "What are you doing? That's not the goalkeeper's meant to hands. That's why you've got them there. You can use your hands in the box. Use them." Fabianski stood there, so Areola for me. Soufal, he's getting back to his old self, as you said earlier, Andy. He's looking like the Soufal of old. I think Gonzo mentioned it earlier on Hammer's chat. He actually turned around, or yesterday, today, whatever way you're looking at it. He actually turns around and he goes, Soufal could pick a fight or start a fight with an empty room. But that's what I want. That's what I want. I want that Soufal on the pitch tomorrow. Emerson at left back, I completely agree with both of you boys on that front. Agad and Zuma just look, it fills me with confidence to see them two there. Someone called Agad the Moroccan Bobby Moore. And I'm like, I'm all behind that. I'm all behind that. Love that, especially considering, is it today? It is today?
Yeah, it's tonight.
The club's doing something tomorrow before kickoff.
30 years of since we lost. I'll tell you what, boys, I remember that. I also remember do you remember the testimonial that we did? Was it against the rest of the world at Upton Park? And I think Capital Gold signed it out with My Way. And I was, how old was I? I would have been 14 at the time, and I remember sobbing.
I was 5 months.
Yeah, all right, Andy, piss off.
Yeah,
I remember.
30 years ago, I was 28, so the pair of you, that's quite enough.
Yeah, that's all right. You're fine. I remember sobbing my heart out, hearing My Way, and knowing that what's just happened. It was so. Yeah, God bless our captain, and probably the best.
Him play.
Oh, I met him outside Wembley, but let's leave that alone. Agad and Zuma at the back. I'd actually like to see Downs and Rice as the two.
Yeah, that could work
in midfield. But I started this out with saying it sounds like I'm going to do a 4-2-3-1. I'm not. I'm actually going for those who play FIFA. I'm actually going a 4-2-2-2.
Right.
And I want Rice and Souček as the two. I agree with what you're saying, Steve, but I think he can get those rests when it comes to playing in.
You mean Rice and Downs?
Rice. I mean, Rice can have the break. Rice and Downs. Rice can have the break when it comes to the Conference League. We're playing, is it AEK Larnaca or whatever they're called?
Team, yeah.
Cypriot team in the next. He can have his break then, Steve. As far as I'm concerned, that can be his break. I need him now. I need him firing. I need him doing. I don't actually have Maxwell, and I know this might cause some consternation. I'd have Cornet on the left. I'd actually bring him in. I want someone to run. I want someone to beat a man on that left-hand side. This is no disrespect to Ben Rama. Such trickery. Just get the ball and go. The other side would be Bowen. A case can be made for Antonio out on the right, but I'd start with Bowen. And then I'd actually go Skamaka and Ings up front. And what I'd do is I'd say to the two wide players, do me a favour, beat the man on the outside, get your crosses into the box. And I'd say to Skamaka, get your bloody nut on the end of it. If you can go for goal, go for goal. If not, Danny Ings is going to be in and around that 18-yard box. Find him on the knockdown. Souček, you get in there and follow that up. Let's do that. That's my thing. 4-2-2-2. That's my lineup. That's what I'd like to see. But again, I've said it many times before. Doesn't matter what our formational lineup is if he doesn't change the tactical setup, i.e., stop sitting so deep and defending. Stop inviting them into the final 10 yards before our penalty box before we engage.
And cross a corner past the first man.
Oh, that'd
Or
be nice.
stop with the
wouldn't it?
short corners. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that. Stop putting Declan Rice, who is what, 6? Declan Rice is 6'1", 6'2". Why?
Yeah,
Why is one of our? Can we not get one of our diminutive
Well,
players?
just think, if they put our players who we want, you'd have Skamaka, Aguerd, Zuma, and Rice to target on the corner.
Yeah,
You'd,
mate. All the Souček, Downs.
if he plays, yeah.
These are tall guys. These are tall. I'd have Danny. I'm at a point where I'm saying, let Danny Ings take the corners. He's probably going to be one of the shortest players on the pitch. Let Danny Ings take the corner.
I don't know. I'd take it. Fuck it.
Mate, the only person I wouldn't let take a corner would be Vladimir Sufal.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
He might be brilliant at corners. He can't cross, but he could be good at a dead ball.
I said this is something James said to me, and you both know my James. He said statistically, more goals are scored from short corners than long corners. Now I don't know how true that is.
I'm gonna tell James to stop it.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't want to see short corners. I hate them. They're the bane of my life. You have every opportunity to dump a ball in the box. If you can avoid the goalkeeper, you've got every chance of being on the end of it and putting it in the back of the net. Yeah. If you're playing it short, you're giving them chance to reevaluate what you're doing, get men out to block it.
Yeah.
That's me. That's me.
But before we get the predictions in on the score, I'd like to give some more good news for us. I gave you the news before we started. So the officials for the match tomorrow: Gerard Gillett, the Australian one who got brought over to the Premier League. Bear you mind, is the ref. Is the ref tomorrow, and he was on VAR when he disallowed Maxwell Cornet's goal at Stamford Bridge. So apart from that, and we've got on VAR, we've got someone called Tony Harrington. Never heard of him before in my life, and his assistant is Stuart Burt. So we're going to have. I think they just pick these people up outside. Where is it?
I could do a better job. Did you say Hampton and Burke?
Yeah, what a duo!
That sounds like a comedic crime-fighting duo. But Burke is, an idiot. Bert. Oh, I thought you said Burke. That would have been even better.
Well, we can call him.
You know what Hampton is, Andy, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know what Hampton is? I'll tell you what, if he makes a mistake tomorrow on that VAR, he's going to be a right old Hampton. Anyway, and we certainly will call him. Let's do predictions, boys. Andy, quickly, go on.
I'm going 2-0. Danny Ings and Skamaka both to score.
Tell you what, I've got all the time in the world for that, boy. I would be over the moon.
And do you know what I would love? Because Danny Ings deserves it. We've brought him in as a natural goal scorer, and imagine the confidence what that will give for him as well.
What bugged me, Steve? Before I come on to your prediction, Andy, what bugs me about that is about the situation there with Ings is Moyes last week. It seemed like he dug him out slightly. Did you hear that? He turned around and said, "We need goals from Ings." How about you start him, you dick? He can't score goals from the bench. And if you're going to give him 8 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, it ain't enough when you're playing defensive football, you spanner. He needs to be on the pitch from the start, and you need to be getting balls in the box for him to be able to do something. He ain't mobile. He's lucky if he's got 1.5 knees left. It ain't going to work. Steve, score prediction. What do you reckon?
Well, I've heard that Ings is going to start tomorrow. Those have been the reports. I'm going with Andy 2-0. Who scores? I just don't care.
2 own goals.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it'll be like the Hull game. Do you remember when we played Hull and man of the match was the post?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for tomorrow. I actually think tomorrow has one of two ways in it, boys. It's either going to be an absolute rout and we show up and we do, or it's going to be really scrappy and we lose 1-0. I'm hedging my bets and going the first way, and I'm actually going to say we're actually going to have a rout and we're actually going to win 4. I'm going to say 4-1. I'm going to give them a go. I think we're going to win 4-1. I'm actually going to say that Skamaka, Ings, Cornet will get one, and then maybe a headed goal from one of the two centre backs from a free kick or a corner. So I'm actually going to go 4-1. Andy,
Right,
any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, just it'd be nice. It's nice to be back. Remember to like, subscribe, put your comments in the description below. Tell us what complete a fuck up Duke done at the start, and do laughing emojis if you want. And yeah, like you said, stay safe. I'm meeting at 10 a.m. tomorrow with my mates, so gonna get there 5 hours early before kickoff to have a few bevies and have a good day.
Well, it's lucky that we're not. Lucky we're not doing the review tomorrow. Then, if you're starting 5 hours early, that's all I'm saying.
Can do if you want.
You might be the singing Andy that we had on the channel a couple of years ago.
Oh,
Do you remember the singing Andy?
Yeah.
But he's not at the club no more, so I'll have to sing another one.
Yeah, man, Arthur's gone. It ain't gonna work anymore. Steve,
follow.
Steve, any last thoughts from you, my man?
Look, I just want the win tomorrow, and just want to say thanks for asking me sort of cover for Rob until he's ready to come back. It's nice to be on the channel. But yeah, great, and come on, you Irons.
Yeah, indeed. Listen, boys. Again, you two reached out to me. I think you were the first two that reached out to me based off of the back of Rob taking some time away. So I want to say thank you to both of you for being here. Again, if you two can't make it, there are others that are waiting in the wings that have offered their help. But because you two were the first up, I'm going to be going with you boys. It's really strange doing this as like the anchor, if you will. Anchor with an A. Behave yourselves. I'm the anchor and going solo. Let's leave that alone. There's too many jokes with that one. It's like I say, it's the first time of me doing this. I've said it on a couple of other channels. We get more used to it as we go. Guys and girls, as Andy says, leave your comments below. Give us your score predictions. Give us your team lineup, whatever you want. We're going to put this out, a few hours before the game, so we want to know what your thoughts are. Boys, thank you very much for joining me this evening. It's been a pleasure for me to have you both back, and everyone watching, we shall see you again soon. Andy, I'm not quite sure it's relevant anymore. No. But there used to be a phrase that you used to say when we used to have you. And I would like to hear it again before I hit end credits. Do you want to tell me what we are? Go on.
We are fucking massive.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Yes!
Come on.
Hey!